The stellar wind moved through the empty darkness of space like a small fish in a vast ocean. Captain Yuki stood on the bridge, her forearms moving across different control panels as she checked their position. Her blue skin reflected the soft lights of the ship's instruments. They were far from home, farther than most ships had ever traveled. "How are our systems, Hana?" Yuki asked her chief engineer. Hana was a Vorthak, with scales that changed color when she was worried. Right now they were a deep green. "Everything looks good, Captain," Hana replied, though her voice carried a hint of concern. "But I don't like this place. The gravity readings are strange here." Science Officer Taman clicked his mandibles together, a sign he was thinking hard. His insect-like eyes never stopped moving as he studied his screens. "The readings are unusual," he agreed. "There's something out there that shouldn't exist." They were in the void sector, a place most civilized worlds avoided. It was too far from any inhabited systems, too dangerous and too empty. But that's exactly why they were here. The Keltharian government wanted to know what secrets this region might hold. "Look at this," Taman said suddenly. His voice had that excited tone he got when he found something interesting. "There's a derelict ship about 2 light hours away. It's ancient, maybe 10,000 years old." Yuki felt her curiosity rise. Ancient ships sometimes held valuable technology or information about long-dead civilizations. "Can we reach it safely?" "I think so," Hana said after checking her instruments. "But we should be careful. Old ships can be dangerous." They changed course toward the derelict. As they got closer, Yuki could see it on the main screen. It was huge, maybe 3 times the size of their ship. The metal was black and twisted, shaped in ways that hurt to look at. Whoever built it was not like any race they knew. "I'm detecting some kind of energy source," Taman reported. "Very faint, but it's still active after all these years." "That's impossible," Hana said. "No power source lasts that long." But as they moved closer, something went wrong. The space around them began to twist and bend. Yuki felt her stomach turn as gravity pulled in directions that made no sense. Warning lights flashed red across the bridge. "What's happening?" Yuki shouted over the noise of alarms. "The derelict!" Taman's voice was full of panic. "It's some kind of weapon or experiment. It's creating artificial gravity wells." Through the main screen, they watched in horror as space itself seemed to tear open. A black hole, small but growing, appeared right in front of them. The ancient ship was being pulled into it, breaking apart as the terrible gravity crushed it. "Emergency jump," Yuki ordered. "Get us out of here!" Hana's claws flew over her controls. "The jump drive won't start. Something is blocking it." The stellar wind shook violently as the black hole's gravity took hold of them. They were too close to escape. The ship's metal hull groaned and creaked as invisible forces tried to tear it apart. "Hull breach on deck 3, someone shouted. "Life support is failing," another voice called out. Yuki made quick decisions the way a good captain should. "Seal deck 3. Route all power to the engines. Maybe we can fight our way out." But even as Hana pushed their engines to maximum power, they were losing the battle. The black hole was growing stronger and they were being pulled closer to the point of no return. Once they crossed that line, nothing could save them. "How long do we have?" Yuki asked. Taman's calculations were grim. 6 hours, maybe 7, before we cross the event horizon. After that, he didn't need to finish. Everyone knew what happened to ships that fell into black holes. And life support? 4 hours if we're lucky. Yuki looked around the bridge at her crew. These people had trusted her to lead them safely through the dangers of deep space. Now they were going to die because of her decision to investigate the derelict. "Send a distress signal," she ordered. "All frequencies, maximum power." "Captain," Hana said gently, "there's no one out here. The nearest Union outpost is 50 light-years away. By the time any help arrives—" "I know," Yuki said, "but we have to try." The signal went out into the empty darkness, a small cry for help in an ocean of silence. They all knew it was hopeless. No ship traveled in the void sector. No rescue would come. They began to prepare for death, following the old Keltharian customs of their people. Yuki sat in her captain's chair and thought about her family back home. She had 2 children who would never see their mother again. Her mate would have to raise them alone. The weight of failure pressed down on her like the black hole's gravity. Hours passed. The ship continued to fall towards certain death. Systems failed one by one. The lights grew dimmer as power was rationed. The air grew thin and stale. Then something impossible happened. A voice crackled through their damaged communication system. The words were in a language none of them recognized at first, but the translation software quickly converted them into Keltharian. Keltharian vessel, this is Captain G1 of the UES Indomitable. We're tracking your position and moving to assist. Hold tight. The bridge fell silent. Yuki felt her 4 hearts skip a beat. Did they say human? Taman checked his instruments with shaking hands. Yes, Captain. The signal is definitely coming from a human ship. But humans don't have ships in deep space, Hana said in confusion. They're a new species. The Union says they barely have faster-than-light travel. Then the Union is wrong, Yuki said. She felt something she hadn't felt in hours, hope. Signal them back. Tell them our situation. As Yuki sent their reply, she wondered what humans were doing so far from their home system. What kind of ship did they have that could travel to the void sector? And most importantly, would they really risk their own lives to save strangers? The black hole continued to pull them closer to death. But now, racing through the darkness toward them, came something no one expected. A human warship moving faster than should be possible, coming to answer their call for help. For the first time since the disaster began, Captain Yuki allowed herself to believe they might survive. Captain G1 stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, reading the distress signal data for the 3rd time. The numbers were bad, very bad. The alien ship had maybe 6 hours before it crossed into the black hole's point of no return. After that, not even the fastest ship in the galaxy could save them. Captain, Tactical Officer Kyung-ho said from his station, I have to remind you of our orders. Command was very clear. No contact with alien vessels under any circumstances. G1 looked at the young officer. Kyung-ho was good at his job, but he followed rules like they were religious texts. I heard the orders, Lieutenant. Then you know we can't help them, Kyung-ho continued. This is a classified mission. If we reveal our position to rescue aliens, it could put the entire deep space program at risk. Chief Engineer Minji looked up from her console. The alien ship has 3 life forms aboard. They're going to die if someone doesn't help them. Medical Officer Daehyun nodded in agreement. From what I can tell from their transmissions, they're not hostile. They're explorers like us. Jiwon walked to the main screen and stared at the tactical display. The red dot representing the alien ship was getting closer and closer to the black hole. In her mind, she saw her daughter Sora back on. Earth Sora was only 8 years old and believed her mother was a hero who saved people among the stars. What would Sora think if she knew her mother had left people to die in space? Because it was against orders? Kyung-ho, Jiwon said finally. What would you do if that was a human ship out there? That's different, Captain. There are people, are they? Jiwon turned to face her tactical officer. When did we decide that only human lives matter? The bridge fell quiet. Everyone knew the captain was struggling with a difficult choice. The Indomitable was part of a secret fleet that had been exploring beyond known space for 5 years. Their mission was to map unknown regions and watch for potential threats to human territory. The official story back home was that humans were still limited to ships that could barely reach the nearest star systems. The truth was very different. Human technology had advanced much faster than anyone expected. They had ships that could travel farther and faster than most alien races believed possible. But that technology was a secret. If other species knew how advanced humans had become, it might start a war. Some alien races were already suspicious of human expansion. Knowledge of the deep space fleet could make them take action against Earth. How long to reach them at maximum speed? G1 asked Minji. The engineer ran quick calculations. 4 hours if we push the engines past safe limits. 5 hours if we stay within normal parameters. And they have 6 hours before they're lost forever. That's what their signal says. G1 made her choice. Set course for the alien vessel. Maximum burn. Push the engines to 120% if you have to. Captain, Kyung-ho protested. You can't. I can and I will, Ji-won said firmly. Minji, give me everything the ship has. Daehyun, prepare the medical bay for alien casualties. We don't know their biology, so be ready for anything. Yes, ma'am, both officers replied. Kyung-ho tried one more time. Captain, think about what you're doing. This could end your career. It could end all our careers, Ji-won looked at him with calm eyes. Kyung-ho, I've been in space for 15 years. I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen anything that would make me leave people to die alone in the dark. The Indomitable changed course and began accelerating toward the distress signal. The ship was designed for stealth and exploration, not rescue missions, but its engines were powerful enough to push it far beyond what most alien ships could achieve. As they raced through space, Jiwon sent a reply to the alien vessel. "This is Captain Jiwon. We're coming to get you. Prepare for emergency rescue procedures." The response came back quickly, translated by their computer systems. "Captain Jiwon, this is Captain Yuki of the Keltharian ship Stellar Wind. We don't understand how you're here, but we're grateful beyond words." "Just hold on," Jiwon replied. "We'll be there soon." In the engine room, Minji watched her instruments carefully as she pushed the ship's systems harder than they were designed to handle. Warning lights flashed as temperatures rose beyond safe levels. The engines were screaming, but they were holding together. "Come on," she whispered to her machines. "Just a few more hours. Don't fail me now." On the bridge, Daehyun was reviewing everything he could find about Keltharian biology in the ship's database. There wasn't much. The records showed they were carbon-based life forms with 4 arms and blue skin, but their internal structure was mostly unknown. "I'm going to have to improvise," he told Jiwon. "If any of them are seriously injured, I'll be working blind." "Do your best," the captain replied. "That's all anyone can ask." The hours passed slowly. Every few minutes they received updates from the alien ship. Their situation was getting worse. Hull breaches were spreading. Life support was failing faster than expected. They had maybe 4 hours left instead of 6. "Can we go any faster?" Jiwon asked. "Not without risking engine failure," Minji reported. "If the engines fail, we won't be able to help anyone." Jiwon gripped the arms of her captain's chair. This was the hardest part of command, making decisions when there were no good choices. Push too hard and risk losing everything. Don't push hard enough and watch people die. "Hold current speed," she ordered. 3 hours into their journey, they finally detected the alien ship on their sensors. It was small compared to the Indomitable, and it was clearly in terrible condition. Parts of its hull were twisted and bent from the black hole's gravity. "Dear God," someone whispered. The black hole itself was visible on their screens, a patch of absolute darkness that seemed to swallow light itself. The alien ship was being stretched like rubber as the gravity pulled it apart piece by piece. "1 hour until we reach them," Kyung-ho reported. His voice was no longer full of protest. Even he could see the desperate situation they were flying into. "And how long until they crossed the point of no return?" Jiwon asked. 90 minutes, maybe less. It was going to be close. Very close. But they were going to make it in time. The question was whether they could actually save the alien ship once they got there. Looking at the black hole on her screen, Jiwon realized this rescue was going to be far more dangerous than she had imagined. The Indomitable dropped out of faster-than-light travel just outside the black hole's influence. Captain Jiwon stared at the main screen and felt her heart sink. The situation was worse than she had imagined. The stellar wind was so close to the black hole that its hull was visibly stretching. The small ship looked like it was being pulled apart by invisible hands. Pieces of metal debris floated around it, torn away by the incredible gravity. "Distance to the alien vessel?" Jiwon asked. 2 million kilometers, Kyung-ho reported. "But Captain, to get close enough for rescue, we'll have to enter the gravity well ourselves." Chief Engineer Minji was already running calculations at her station. Her face was pale as she looked at the numbers. "Captain, if we go in there, we might not have enough power to get back out. What are our options?" Jiwon asked. "We could use the tractor beams to try pulling them out from a safe distance," Minji said. "But the range isn't enough. We'd have to get much closer." "How much closer?" 500,000 kilometers. Maybe less. The bridge fell silent as everyone understood what that meant. They would have to fly into the same trap that was killing the alien ship. If their engines failed or if they couldn't break free from the gravity, both ships would die together. "Time until the alien ship is lost?" Jiwon asked. 47 minutes, Kyung-ho said quietly. Jiwon looked around the bridge at her crew. These people had followed her across the galaxy on dangerous missions. They had trusted her with their lives many times before. Now she was about to ask them to risk everything for strangers. "I won't order anyone to do this," she said. "If anyone wants to object, speak now." Medical Officer Daehyun was the first to respond. "Those people are dying, Captain." "We can't just watch." Minji nodded in agreement. "The engines will hold. I'll make sure of it." Even Kyung-ho, who had opposed the rescue from the beginning, straightened in his chair. "If we're doing this, we need to do it right." Jiwon felt pride swell in her chest. This was why she loved her crew. When the choice was between safety and doing what was right, they always chose to do what was right. "All right then," she said. "Minji, I need you to give me everything. Kyung-ho, prepare the tractor beams. Taehyun, get ready to receive casualties. The Indomitable began moving toward the black hole. As they got closer, everyone could feel the effects of the massive gravity. The ship groaned and creaked as invisible forces pulled at its hull. Entering the gravity well now, Kyung-ho announced. On the screen, the stellar wind looked even worse up close. Its hull was cracked in dozens of places. The ship was spinning slowly as the black hole's gravity pulled it in different directions. Can you establish a communications link? Ji-won asked, trying now. Got it, Kyung-ho said. Audio only. Their transmitter is badly damaged. This is Captain Ji-won, can you hear me? The response was weak and full of static. Captain Ji-won. Yes, we can hear you. Captain Yuki here. Thank the stars you came. We're going to get you out of there, Ji-won promised. Can your people move to a safe area of your ship? We're going to use tractor beams to pull you free. Most of the ship isn't safe anymore, Yuki replied. We're all on the bridge. It's the only section that still has life support. Ji-won turned to Minji. Can you lock onto their bridge section specifically? I think so, the engineer said. But pulling just part of their ship, that's never been done before. First time for everything, Ji-won said. Do it. The Indomitable moved closer to the alien vessel. Every meter they traveled made their own situation more dangerous. The black hole's gravity was now pulling on them too, making the ship harder to control. Tractor beams ready, Kyung-ho reported. Lock on and pull, Ji-won ordered. Blue beams of energy shot out from the Indomitable and wrapped around the stellar wind. For a moment, nothing happened. The alien ship continued falling toward the black hole. Then slowly it began to move away from certain death. It's working, Minji shouted over the noise of straining engines, but the celebration was short-lived. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as the Indomitable's engines fought against the black hole's pull. Engine temperature is in the red zone, Minji reported. We're pushing too hard. Can they take it? Ji-won asked. For a few more minutes, maybe. The alien ship was moving, but very slowly. At this rate, they would run out of time before reaching safety. More power to the tractor beams, Ji-won ordered. Captain, if I give them more power, the engines might fail completely, Minji warned. And if we don't, those people die, Ji-won replied. Do it. Minji pushed the ship's systems beyond their limits. The Indomitable shook violently as every component strained to work together. Sparks flew from control panels as circuits overloaded. The alien ship began moving faster, but now both vessels were in serious danger. The Indomitable was being pulled deeper into the gravity well with each passing second. Hull stress is approaching critical levels, Kyung-ho announced. How much farther? Ji-won asked. 300,000 kilometers to safety. It felt like the longest distance in the universe. The ship continued to shake and groan as they fought against physics itself. In the engine room, Minji watched her instruments with growing alarm. The engines were running so hot they could explode at any moment. Come on, she whispered. Just a little longer. On the bridge, sparks rained down from damaged systems. The lights flickered as power fluctuated throughout the ship. Medical Officer Dae-hyun held onto his station as the floor shook beneath his feet. 200,000 kilometers, Kyung-ho called out. The alien ship was now moving steadily away from the black hole, but the Indomitable was paying a terrible price. Warning alarms blared from every station. Engine containment field is failing. Minji's voice came over the intercom. Hold it together, Ji-won shouted back. 100,000 kilometers. They were almost there. Almost safe. The black hole's pull was getting weaker with every passing moment. Then disaster struck. One of the tractor beam generators exploded, sending shrapnel across the ship. The beam flickered and died, leaving only 2 beams holding the alien vessel. We're losing them, Kyung-ho said. Compensate, Ji-won ordered. The remaining tractor beams strained to hold the alien ship. For a terrifying moment, it looked like the stellar wind might slip free and fall back toward the black hole. But the Indomitable held on. With engines screaming and hull plates buckling, the human ship pulled its alien cargo to safety. We're clear, Kyung-ho announced. Both ships are outside the gravity well. The bridge erupted in cheers, but Ji-won remained focused. Damage report. Engines are barely holding together, Minji reported. But we're alive. And the alien ship? Badly damaged but stable. They're requesting permission to come aboard for medical assistance. Ji-won smiled for the first time in hours. Permission granted. Let's meet our new friends. Captain Yuki stepped through the airlock of the Indomitable, and saw humans up close for the first time in her life. They were smaller than she had expected, with only 2 arms and strange pale skin. But their eyes held the same intelligence she saw in her own people. Medical Officer Dae-hyun was waiting with a small team. He approached carefully, holding a medical scanner in front of him. "Captain Yuki? I'm Dr. Dae-hyun. Can you understand me?" "Yes," Yuki replied through the translation device on her belt. "Your language computers work very well." "Good. I need to check you and your crew for injuries. I don't know much about Keltharian biology, so I'll need your help." Yuki looked around the human ship with growing amazement. Everything was built for creatures much smaller than her people, but it was also clearly very advanced. The walls hummed with power, and the air recycling system was cleaner than anything on Keltharian ships. Chief Engineer Hana and Science Officer Taemin joined them in the medical bay. Both aliens were injured from their ordeal, but they were more interested in studying their rescuers than receiving treatment. "How is this possible?" Taemin asked, his insect-like eyes wide with wonder. "The Galactic Union says humans barely have faster-than-light travel." Dae-hyun smiled as he ran his scanner over Hana's scales. "The Union doesn't know everything about us." "But you're here," Hana said. "In the void sector. That's 20,000 light-years from Earth." "Humans have been exploring deep space for several years now," Dae-hyun explained. "We just haven't told anyone about it." Over the next few hours, Dae-hyun worked to treat the aliens' injuries. It was like solving a puzzle. Their bodies were similar to humans in some ways, but completely different in others. Yuki had 4 hearts instead of 1. Hana's blood was green and carried oxygen differently. Taemin's nervous system was spread throughout his body instead of being centered in his brain. But Dae-hyun was determined to help them. When normal medicine didn't work, he tried different approaches. When standard treatments failed, he invented new ones. He worked with the patience of a teacher and the creativity of an artist. "You're very good at this," Yuki told him as he bandaged a cut on one of her arms. "Even our own doctors couldn't have done better." "I had good teachers," Dae-hyun replied, "and good motivation." While the medical work continued, Captain Ji-won spent time talking with Yuki about their respective species and cultures. They sat in the ship's observation lounge looking out at the stars. "Why did you risk your ship to save us?" Yuki asked. "Your officer was right. It was against your orders." Ji-won was quiet for a moment. "Do you have children, Captain Yuki?" "2 daughters. They're both grown now with families of their own." "I have a daughter," Ji-won said. "Her name is Sora. She's 8 years old and thinks I'm a hero because I explore space." "You are a hero. You saved our lives." "But that's not why I did it," Ji-won continued. "I did it because I want Sora to grow up in a universe where people help each other, where no one dies alone in the dark if someone can prevent it." Yuki studied the human captain's face. "Your species is very different from what we expected." "How so?" "The reports say humans are aggressive and dangerous. That you fight wars and conquer territories," Ji-won laughed. "We do fight sometimes. We're not perfect. But we also believe that life is precious, no matter what species it comes from." In the engineering section, Minji was working with Hana to repair the stellar wind. The alien ship's technology was fascinating, but completely different from human designs. "Your people build things to last forever," Minji observed as she studied a piece of Keltharian equipment. "This component is 300 years old and still works perfectly." "And your people build things to be improved," Hana replied, watching Minji modify a broken system with tools and parts from the human ship. "You don't just fix problems. You make things better than they were before." "We have to," Minji said. "Human technology advances so fast that everything is obsolete in a few years. So we learn to adapt and modify instead of starting over." "That's why you could save us," Hana realized. "Other species would have followed their procedures and waited for proper rescue equipment. You improvised." "Improvisation is what humans do best," Minji agreed. Meanwhile, Taemin was in the ship's computer center with Tactical Officer Kyung-ho, comparing navigation data. The insect scientist was amazed by human star charts. "You've mapped regions that no one else has ever visited," Taemin said. "Some of these systems are marked as dangerous by the Union, but you've been there." "Dangerous places often have the most interesting discoveries," Kyung-ho replied. "Besides, dangerous is relative. What's impossible for one species might be routine for another. But why keep it secret? Why not share your discoveries with the galaxy?" Kyung-ho's expression grew serious. "Because some species might see our exploration as a threat. They might think we're planning to invade their territory. Are you? No, we're explorers, not conquerors. But fear doesn't always listen to reason. As the days passed, the two crews worked together to repair both ships. The humans shared their technology and knowledge freely, while the aliens provided insights into regions of space they had studied for centuries. Yuki found herself changing her opinions about humanity with each conversation. These were not the primitive, aggressive creatures described in Union reports. They were sophisticated, compassionate beings who had chosen to risk everything to save strangers. What will you tell your government about us? Jiwan asked during one of their talks. The truth, Yuki replied, that humans are already among the stars, going places others fear to travel. That when someone calls for help in the darkness, humans answer. And what do you think they'll do with that information? Yuki considered the question carefully. Some will be afraid. Change always frightens people, but others will be curious. They'll want to know more about the species that saves lives instead of taking them. The galaxy is about to get a lot more interesting, Jiwan said. Yes, Yuki agreed, and I think that's a good thing. When the repairs were finally complete, both ships were ready to return to their respective homes. But first, Jiwan and Yuki exchanged communication codes so their species could stay in contact. This won't be the last time our peoples meet, Yuki said as they prepared to part ways. I hope not, Jiwan replied. The universe is big enough for all of us. As the stellar wind powered up its repaired engines, Yuki sent one final message to the human ship. Thank you for showing us that the darkness between stars doesn't have to be empty. It can be filled with hope. 3 months after the rescue, Captain Yuki stood before the Galactic Union Council on the planet Sanctuary Prime. The Great Hall was filled with representatives from dozens of different species, all waiting to hear her report about the humans. The Council recognizes Captain Yuki of the Keltharian Exploration Fleet, announced Chancellor Vex. A tall gray-skinned being with 6 eyes, Yuki stepped to the center of the chamber. Around her, hundreds of alien faces looked down from tiered seating. Some showed curiosity, others suspicion, and a few showed fear. Honored representatives, Yuki began. I come before you today to report on an encounter that will change how we view our human neighbors. Murmurs filled the hall. The official Union position was that humans were a minor species, barely capable of interstellar travel. Most council members had never given them much thought. 3 months ago, my ship was trapped by a black hole in the void sector, Yuki continued. We sent a distress signal, knowing that no help would come. The void sector is too far from any civilized world. Then how did you survive? Asked Representative Korax, a militant species known for their aggressive policies. A human warship answered our call. The hall erupted in shocked voices. Representatives turned to each other, speaking in dozens of different languages. Chancellor Vex struck his gavel repeatedly to restore order. That's impossible, Korax declared. Our intelligence reports show that humans have no ships capable of deep space travel. Your intelligence reports are wrong, Yuki said firmly. The human ship Indomitable not only reached the void sector, but risked destruction to save my crew. She activated a holographic display showing the rescue operation. The council watched in amazement as the human ship pulled the stellar wind away from the black hole, both vessels nearly dying in the process. As you can see, Yuki said, the humans put themselves in terrible danger to save 3 alien lives. They had no reason to help us. We were strangers from a different species. They gained nothing from the rescue except the knowledge that we would live. Representative Thyra of the Peaceful Collective raised her hand. What did you learn about human capabilities during this encounter? Their technology is far more advanced than our reports indicated, Yuki replied. Their ship moved faster than most Union vessels. Their medical officer treated injuries he had never seen before in species he had never studied. Their engineer repaired our ship using improvised solutions that worked better than our original designs. This is disturbing, Korax interjected. If humans have been hiding their true capabilities, what else are they hiding? How do we know they're not planning to attack Union worlds? Because they had every opportunity to capture or destroy my ship and instead they saved it, Yuki answered. Representative Korax, these humans could have left us to die with no one knowing they were ever there. Instead, they revealed themselves to save alien lives. An elderly representative from the Wise Keepers spoke up. Did they make any demands? Ask for anything in return? Nothing, Yuki said. When we offered to share our star charts and scientific data as payment, they refused. Captain G1 said that life is valuable for its own sake, not because it can give you something in return. The hall fell silent as the representatives considered this information. Many species in the galaxy operated on principles of trade and mutual benefit. The idea of helping others without expecting payment was almost unthinkable. What do they want from us? Chancellor Vex asked. To be allowed to exist peacefully, Yuki replied. To explore the galaxy and make friends with other species. Captain G1 told me that humans dream of a future where all intelligent life works together. Dreams are not policy, Korax said harshly. We need to know their military strength, their intentions, their weaknesses. Their greatest strength is their willingness to help others, Yuki said. Their intention is to explore and learn. Their only weakness is that they care too much about the lives of strangers. Over the following weeks, the council debated what to do about the humans. Some wanted to send military ships to investigate human space. Others suggested making contact immediately. A few even proposed attacking Earth before humans became too powerful. But Yuki's report had an unexpected effect. Stories of the rescue spread throughout Union space. People began talking about the humans who risked everything to save alien lives. Artists created songs about the rescue. Children played games pretending to be brave human explorers. The debate was settled when more reports arrived. A Centaurian mining ship lost in an asteroid field was rescued by humans. A vegan passenger liner with engine failure was towed to safety by a human vessel. A Rigelian science station under attack by pirates was defended by human ships that appeared from nowhere. In every case, the humans helped without being asked and refused any payment. They were already everywhere in the galaxy, answering calls for help that no one else could or would answer. Captain G1 received a message from Earth Command 6 months after the rescue. She expected to be court-martialed for breaking orders. Instead, she found herself promoted and given a new mission. The secret is out, Admiral Kim told her over the subspace communicator. The aliens know we're here. The question now is what kind of relationship we want to have with them. What are my orders, sir? G1 asked. Make friends. The Union has requested formal diplomatic contact. You're being assigned as our first ambassador. 2 weeks later, the Indomitable arrived at Sanctuary Prime, carrying the first official human delegation to the Galactic Union. Captain G1 had traded her military uniform for diplomatic robes, but she was still the same person who had risked everything to save alien lives. The welcoming ceremony was attended by representatives from across the galaxy. As G1 walked into the Great Hall, she saw Captain Yuki waiting for her with a smile. Welcome to the Union, Captain G1, Yuki said. Or should I say Ambassador G1? Just G1 is fine, the human replied. We're friends after all. The ceremony was simple but meaningful. Chancellor Vex formally welcomed humanity to the galactic community, speaking words of friendship and cooperation. When it was G1's turn to speak, she kept her message short. We come to the stars not as conquerors but as neighbors, she said. We believe that every life is precious, every species has value, and every call for help deserves an answer. We hope to build a future where no one dies alone in the darkness. The hall erupted in applause. Even Representative Korax was clapping, though he tried to hide it. Later at the reception, Yuki and G1 stood on a balcony looking up at the alien stars. So what happens now? Yuki asked. Now we build something better, G1 replied. One friendship at a time. Above them, human ships were already spreading across the galaxy, no longer hiding in the depths of space. They carried doctors and engineers, scientists and teachers, all ready to answer the next call for help. The age of secret human exploration was over. The age of cooperation had begun, and in the darkest corners of space, where lost ships sent desperate signals into the void, there was always hope. Because somewhere out there, a human ship was listening, ready to answer without hesitation.